It's a reversal, or seemingly a reversal, in progress as we do look around the general market dynamics, with the dollar index actually showing a little bit of weakness here coming off of some of the economic events from this past week. How will that potentially influence Bitcoin is the question of today. And before we get into things, I should let you know that once again, you can still join the second cohort for free with an exchange account in the link in the description below for the crypto school. And also, wait, this is actually the wrong page yet again. Whoops, my bad, but it is down there and it will start in 8 days. So a little over a week from now, and the second cohort gets going. Anyways, let's just jump right in this charts. I suspect today's video is going to be very, very short. And with the way that the dollar index did close out this week, it does look like we have a weekly reversal in progress here with our first lower high since basically April rally. And in this case, we do see that this week did close on the lows, and more importantly, it did close on the lows, which was essentially equal to the past low as far as trend does go. So what does that imply? It implies that, you know, if you have a lower high and you have the same lows, then what must very likely naturally follow after that is very likely a lower low, thus a trend reversal here on the weekly time frame. Now, the idea is generally that if the dollar is weak, then assets, again, plotted against it should be a little bit stronger. Does this provide a bit of a tailwind for Bitcoin? Perhaps yes. For traditional markets, definitely yes. As we haven't really seen it, have major implications for Bitcoin recently. But of course, during these times when things are very, very slow, it's well, have to be looking at all these other things that, generally I don't really actually care too much about, just to sort of, fill out the old content right here. But, as you can see, a reversal right here, would generally bode well for Bitcoin. I don't necessarily think it would be certainly not a bearish thing. So, when we start to add up the puzzle piece together in the background, in particularly what we spoke about yesterday for Bitcoin, you can see the wheels turning, that the more that Bitcoin just holds on for dear life in this mid to upper $50,000 territory, the more and more naturally that the underlying market dynamics are going to switch around to, be very favorable to at least a nice bounce, potentially even the next major low that I think many people are looking for. So, the general feeling or gist that we've been having on this channel throughout this past week is that, hey, if Bitcoin bears are in control, we expect them to push down now, like really within this last 5-day period, which is going to end tonight. Maybe there's one more 5-day period after that, but realistically, even in this next 5-day period, I think it's becoming more and more likely that Bitcoin's going to bounce here back into the $60,000 range rather than have continuation to the downside. And this would just be another supporting fact of that. We're also going to see weekly stochastic, damn it, let me get in my charts right here. We're going to see weekly stochastic momentum actually twist to the downside after rejection in the bullish control zone and on that sort of double DMI sell signal right there. So these are typically rather powerful. We haven't seen one of these in quite some time with that double signal, but these have produced reversals in the past with general downside price action. So the overall range likely still does hold here, to be fair. If I go over to my chart right here, it's the same range that we had plotted in here since basically like October of last year. But does that imply that we could see a test all the way to the bottom side of the range, maybe play out a move down to 101, 101 and a half? Definitely possible, and that would be a rather large move for the dollar index, which, could very well be the impetus or play into seeing risk assets continue to the upside. So, I did think that was rather interesting. Again, you can tell that it's very, 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 very boring content day when we start to talk about shit like this. But hey, it is there in the background, and that would theoretically be helping Bitcoin and, more importantly, the stock market as well. In fact, realistically, or really, I've been focusing a lot more on stocks recently, just being like a more long-term investor. And it's kind of nice. Things just go up. Things just go up. You got to love it, man. Anyways, going into Bitcoin right here, I do want to talk a little bit about the 5-day time frame for the HPDR, and the 5-day time frame is going to close tonight in 16 hours exactly from this moment. And as you can see, if it closed anything like this, I mean, this is going to greatly strengthen a case that Bitcoin's going to bounce. Bitcoin's going to bounce here more likely than anything else. Even if you are super, super bearish, you'd probably be looking for a bounce. Now, could we see a retest of this range low at like the, mid $54,000 territory first? Possible, yes, but really wouldn't be expecting continuation there. Again, I'll bring you to the signal that we spoke about very briefly yesterday, which is this. The HPDRO has reached a level that we typically don't see very often in bull markets, and when we do see it in bear markets, it's actually like a major continuation sell signal. But whenever we've seen this level hit on the HPDRO in bull markets, these have marked off, major, dare I say, macro lows. I mean, the last time we actually saw this level hit was on the macro low in November 2022. There were several times in the past bear market of 2022 where that level was hit. And as you can see, it was essentially the breaking point of that consolidation for massively further lows, new lows, I should say. But within the context of bull markets, major low right there, major low right there, major low right there, major low right there, macro low right there. Again, major and macro lows and major low right here. So you got to ask yourself, what sort of market cycle are we in as of right now? If you think that it's a bullish cycle, then it's looking more and more like Bitcoin's going to dig in its heels here, and assuming that today closes anywhere around where current price action is, that is going to start to turn around and be, again, more of a tailwind rather than a headwind. So I don't know why I have this up right here, but But putting back on my drawing tools, I think that there's also just a really simplistic analysis to be had here as well. Now, again, I'm going to assume that price action closes somewhere around here, very, very likely for today, because today is Saturday. Saturday is the lowest volatility day for Bitcoin. And essentially, if Bitcoin does close anything like this, the way that we can view it for this next 5-day period, or even the next 10-day period really, is that if Bitcoin even just trades, if it just even trades back above this current 5-day high, which is 59,550, I would be expecting a pretty decent bounce into the $60,000 territory, at least $62,000, more likely to 64, maybe even 65. Even if you're like super, super bearish, at that point, I suppose you are looking at a lower high, but that is a pretty good percentage-wise bounce. So, just looking at it right here, I think that is probably best to just simplify things and probably just even end the video on that note. Again, a very short video because, very little has actually happened this week. But again, very little happening is going to naturally favor the Bulaws as we get this situation here where, the wheels are turning, but we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. So bears kind of on the clock. Their sort of probabilistic favorability and starts to really diminish as of tonight's closure. Maybe got one more 5-day period on top of that. Maybe we'll revisit those statistics tomorrow, although Sundays are usually very, very quiet as well, so perhaps better for a Monday video. But ultimately, you can see the wheels turning in the background now, even though it's not getting anywhere. But again, that is, as time goes on, going to favor the Bulaws more and more. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I don't suspect that we're going to see any major moves today. If we do, I'd be mindful of the daily HPDR range. Again, if Bitcoin were to even close above 58,800, the median right here, that would probably also be a good early indication of a greater bounce incoming. Again, minimum $62,000, probably more like 64 to 65 before any sort of potential, selling, like major selling comes back into the market. So until we have that, I think it's going to be a lot more waiting right here. On the other end, again, Bitcoin could very easily retest, 56 and not do all that much. So it's really up to the bears to push things to new lows like today, or I guess at most the 5-day period that follows that. But even then, probabilities start to diminish in that way. So, in the bears' favor. So, yeah. That's where I'll leave things today. We'll check back on it tomorrow, as obviously we'll have this next 5-day closure, and assuming that all is well, that should just kind of strengthen the overall puzzle that we've been building here for the past couple weeks now. So I'll leave things on that note. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.